It's a hell of a deal to become the new head coach of the Detroit Pistons. Me and Big Kev are going to break it all down, but first, we got to play that intro.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
Now, after it was first initially rumored that the Pistons had offered Monty Williams the job and he turned it down, we then, over the last week or so, have been hearing that they're going to aggressively go after him, that they were preparing a large offer. Big Kev, Monty Williams got offered a 6-year, $72 million deal to become the new head coach of the Detroit Pistons. This is one of the longest and largest deals that a coach is ever going to get, period, bro. Like, that's wild to get that amount of money over that length of contract. Monty Williams is going to have more than enough time to come in, set an organization. He really gets to build a program and really get to see these young guys have a nice young roster down there and develop them. Big Kev, how you feeling about this move, man?
Man, first of all, Monty Williams, I in such a way, because even if you're tired of you after 3 years, which a lot of NBA teams are doing lately, you still getting that money. So I ain't mad at you. The Detroit Pistons got a lot of good young pieces out there too, man. A lot of good young pieces, and they still got what top 10 picks. You all right, man? You still thinking about the money? It's hard to breathe thinking about how much money he got.
I'm happy your brother getting paid, bro. This brother getting paid. I'm never mad at that.
Listen, man.
Me, though, goddammit. I'm a Scottie Pippen his ass. It should have been me. They really wanted to sign me. I turned them. No, we're gonna Scottie Pippen this shit. Keep it going, kid.
No, man, I love to see it, man. Like you got the pieces out there, and you got something to build on, and it's kind of similar to what Ime Udoka is going to go through in Houston with a lot of young lottery picks, and you can do what you do as a veteran coach. I'm not too bad. I'm not mad at the situation.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Monty Williams, and I think he became the scapegoat of what happened down there in Phoenix, because I was surprised when they fired him. I thought that he was going to get a chance, especially considering they added Kevin Durant mid season. But I like now he gets to come into a situation. He has the job security. He has a young roster that he's going to get to develop. He's going to get to develop a real program down there. That's something that a lot of coaches don't get a chance to get. I think it says something about how they view Monty Williams. Like, people forget, just like less than a decade ago, Monty Williams was looked as the new young coach that was going to come in and do some things, and he's never really quite gotten that situation. He always goes to these situations that ever since Charlotte, it was Charlotte at first, that just don't quite work out. And so I like that he's going to Detroit. It sucks that they're into the division of the Bulls, my team, but I think that Monty got everything he deserved from this one. He deserves a chance to really sit down and build something, and he's going to get that here.
So I'm thinking, it was New Orleans though, right? They were the Hornets, but it was in New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Okay, was it still when they were the New Orleans Hornets then?
I think
it's been a minute, bro.
It's all good. I think it was New Orleans, and then he transitioned to Phoenix, where he went in 309 games. 309 games, Haize. He was at 194 and 115. That's a 63% win percentage. And then you're looking at averages of 115 points, 44 rebounds, about 30 assists. His teams have achieved, super heights, and they were 2 games away from winning the everything. What was it, 2021? They were 2 games away from winning the whole thing. So I do feel like he was scapegoated, but that's just the new NBA. And then even with his playoff record overall, he was 27-19 with the Suns in his playoff record with those guys. It just doesn't make sense that they got rid of him. But I think Detroit might have got a diamond in the rough here.
For sure. They definitely take advantage of a coach who I don't think should have been fired. Like you said, his 1%, his career, he's won out of 703 games, he's won 367 of them. He has a 52% win percentage. While that doesn't sound amazing or anything, when you think about the fact that he did coach those New Orleans Hornets that were just a rough team, like he's a really good coach. Is he a perfect coach? No, but I also don't think we've gotten to see him in a situation where he doesn't come in with either team in turmoil or a team that has these high expectations right away. Like, they never had less than a 73 win season. under him in Phoenix, bro. You fire a coach like a 51 win season. That's crazy,
I was
bro.
about to say less than. Wait a minute, he the
I was about
greatest
to say
coach of
yeah,
all time.
yeah. Looking at my numbers wrong on that one, but like it's
No,
crazy, bro. It's wild.
ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Listen, man, Monty Williams. When you think about the things that he had to navigate in Phoenix, a CP3 that's always hurt, Devin Booker who was hurt throughout stretches, a non-aggressive big man who was the #1 overall pick and hasn't really done much. You get what I'm saying? Like, and DeAndre Ayton. So, and who actually tuned out Monty Williams. Like Monty Williams is a
That's
great
right.
coach. And one of your major players was like, I ain't trying to hear what you got to say, fam. You know what I'm saying? So he couldn't motivate that guy. Now you're going over to the Detroit Pistons, where you got, I can't think of too many people's names right now because I haven't pulled up the roster. I'm sure you got it on one of them 17 screens you got over there,
Hey, don't
looking
be
like
exposing how many screens I got over here. They ain't gotta know what I got
it's
back
like
here.
it's like Minority Report.
Hey, bro, listen, I gotta have a lot of screens, especially when I'm watching a bunch of games at one time, bro. This is the command center, bro. We
I
be in this
love
mud.
it. I
We
love it.
be
But
in this mud.
I know that roster in Detroit is going to be something that he can work with, and hopefully those young legs are a little bit more stable than CP3s and KDs. Those knees
Yeah, I
out
mean, you
there.
look at it. They got, of course, Killian Hayes down there, Jaden Ivey's there, James Wiseman, who may factor into the long-term plans. He may end up being a trade chip at some point, but Jalen Duren, who they just drafted, Cade Cunningham, like they have a team of players that are just you see a little bit in everything. They got some older players down there now too. I'm going to ask you about that here in a second, but I really do like Detroit's roster. And like I said before, it sucks for me to say that because they're Detroit and they're in our division, but I
I would
like a
never
lot
say
of the
that.
young talent that they have, and it's going to take a coach like Monty Williams to really cultivate that and teach them how to play winning basketball. But I think, like you said, a diamond in the rough, a hell of a coach there. Now I'm going to ask you this: so there have been some talk. They traded for Bojan Bogdanovic. They ended up giving him an extension, but they seemed like they were shopping him at the trade deadline. Do you think now with the coach like Monty coming in? Do you think that they may hold on to some of those veteran pieces, or do you think they're going to jettison those off and go completely young?
It depends on if they're trying to be competitive or if they're in complete rebuild mode. You get what I'm saying? Like, if they're trying to be competitive, they're gonna keep a couple of those veterans to try to win. Because look, you had a 44 win Miami Heat team make it to the finals. Obviously, you talked about this on Chicago Bulls Central. You can't let the parity confuse you as a franchise, right? But at the end of the day, look, anything can happen in today's NBA. And if you can get a team that can get 40 to 42 to 43 wins, you might have a situation where you want to hold on to some of them veterans. But if you're just completely in like, hold on, let's reset, get rid of some of these guys, I can see them getting rid of a Bogdanovic, depending on how they start the season next season. I don't think they're going to get rid of him in the offseason because they just gave him the extension.
Yeah, I mean, they have Bogdanovich down there. They got Corey Joseph down there. Who Corey Joseph isn't, it feels like he's one of those players that have been around the league forever, but I think he's still like in his early 30s. But those are two veterans that I look at and say they probably could hold on to probably throughout, maybe into the trade deadline. I don't know what Corey Joseph's contract situation is. So for all I know, he could be a free agent now once the offseason officially starts. But I think Monty's going to want to establish a culture. He's going to want to establish a play style. And you have to teach winning basketball, and that is the benefit of having vets, even when you're a younger roster that may not have the best outlook as far as winning a bunch of games. But I look at this like they are one or two players away from taking the leap to where they are a perennial playoff team. Like they're not that far off. Like it's just one or two of those players, and they in the playoffs. That's it.
Especially when you take the play in into consideration, whereas it's like, okay, the play in is kind of like almost like a de facto playoff team. You feel me? Because like the Bulls didn't make the playoffs, but they did have a play in game, and we was all watching. I'm excited to see what he can do with this bevy of point guards that he got out there. RJ Hampton, Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, Corey Joseph, and Jaden Ivey is supposed to be the future, but Killian Hayes is only 21. RJ Hampton is also 21. Like it's just so much to work with.
Dang, RJ Hampton's 21.
Isn't that something? No, he's 22. My bad. He's 22.
That's
So
still, it feels another one who feels like he's been around for like three. Wait, he's been in the league like 22.
he's only 22 and he's on a super duper minimum salary. He's only making $485,000, bro.
That's crazy.
So he got a lot to work with out there, man, and
Yeah.
and it's gonna be fun to see. I mean, obviously, we don't want them to kill the Bulls because at the end of the day, Detroit teams are the teams that Chicago teams feel good about playing against for the most part, except for when Verlander was in Detroit Tigers.
I feel that. I feel that. I mean, we'll end up seeing, man. We'll end up seeing. I like the pick. I like Monty a lot. I think he goes to a situation now. He's gonna have tons of security. Not have to worry about his job because I tell you what, people who don't know, when you fire a coach in the NBA, you still have to pay out their full contract for the length of time that they were going to be. So the fact that they gave him a 6-year deal tells me that he is there. No matter what happens, win, lose, or draw, he's there for at least 4 or 5 years. And I like him having that job security for sure and being able to really build that, cultivate that talent. You have some young guards down there. You got a young big and Jalen Duren, who I was super high on this draft. And yeah, his offensive upside maybe isn't the best, but he has the potential to be an amazing defender, rebounder, and shot blocker down there in Detroit, which they are familiar with having players that have that skill set. So I like that for the team. I like it for the coach. I like it for the players, and we just got to see if it ends up is going to turn into something.
My question for you, Haize, is: hey, are there going to be free agents who are attracted to going to Detroit now because of Monty Williams?
No.
At least not right now, right? Maybe in a couple of years.
First of all, you in a city like Detroit, that's the armpit of the Midwest.
Oh,
secondly,
man.
you're a team that is not going to win a lot of games. I don't think they're going to be free agent destinations. Maybe for a veteran that is trying to prove that he could still play, maybe take a 1-year deal down there to get back into free agency, because they're going to have tons of, like, they have all those players. They still, I think, coming into the season, they're going to have about $40 million in cap space, and that's after the draft pick. So
they also have the number 5 pick in this upcoming draft. Do you see them maybe trying to move that pick to get more veteran presence over to Detroit? Or did they hold on to it and draft another young player? Because you got a lot of 21 to 25-year-olds on this roster.
They do, but a lot of them are guards, bro. Like they got a bunch of guards and they got 2 young centers. I think that looking at what's going to be around there at number 5, I think that they can take that pick, because this is one of the Thompson twins. I think you add a athletic young wing to this team, that may be what they need, especially one that can doesn't have to start, probably play behind Bojan for a while. I think they go one of the Thompson twins, man.
I can definitely see that, man. I know they're excited in Detroit right now, man. They got another Monty. They got a Monty from us, and then they got the Monty from Phoenix.
Hey, listen, they can be real excited. They still live in Detroit. Detroit fans still live in Detroit, so.
And they like their pizza in Detroit. I don't know what's wrong with them.
Detroit pizza is fucking trash, bro. Like, have you ever heard anybody talk about Detroit pizza?
Yeah, you remember Little Caesars actually made it. Like, they was just like, oh, here go Detroit style pizza.
It's Little Caesars. They just be trying to throw anything and stick to the damn wall, bro. The same motherfuckers who got a pretzel pizza. I ain't tripping off them, bro. Like, ain't nobody tripping off that shit. No, but all jokes aside, man. Hey, Detroit fans, I know you guys may be happy, however many of you guys are out there. But overall, hey, there's another coach that gets added to the division after Adrian Griffin gets also added to the Central Division, and we still are holding on to Billy Donovan. So.
Man, it is what it is, bro.
That's all you can say with that. It is what it is, man. Big Kev, any thoughts left before we get up out of here, brother?
No, man, I'm liking to see these teams really throwing the bag at coaches after we've seen the pendulum kind of shift over to players. Paid players getting all the money, this new CBA, and the way these coaches are coming in and trying to establish themselves. Let's see if coaches can kind of wrestle some of this away from the players. Not that I don't like it being a players league, because I do, because teams cut players, trade them, kick them off the team for whatever reason, so on and so forth. So I don't mind seeing a coach who's established himself as a marquee coach in this league getting that bag, just like players who establish themselves get that bag, and some established players some unestablished players get that bag. You feel me? So go ahead and get that money, my guy.
Yeah, get your money, get your coin, $72 million. Shout out to Monty Williams on that. By the way, guys, I stream this also on Chicago Bulls Central just because I'm trying to get as much in here early from general NBA. Y'all go and subscribe to NBA Central, because once the finals ends, there's no more co-streaming with Chicago Bulls Central and NBA Central. You got to be subscribed to NBA Central for all the latest free agent signings, breakdowns, everything that isn't Bulls specific. But I'm trying
player
to
player
profiles, which I'm going to start. The first video on that drops tomorrow. I'm going to be going over all the Spurs draft picks. We already know they're getting to win beyond the first, but then they got 2 second-round picks. So if you want all of that latest analysis, Kev's brings the prediction shows ahead of all playoff games as well. Make sure you guys go and subscribe over to NBA Central to get your general NBA content. But for Big Kev, I'm Haize. This has been NBA Central. We love you guys, man. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.